Hey guys and girls, welcome to Poormans Bushcraft again. I wanted today to talk about fire kits. I might go on a little tangent here, doing the old Pepsi real sugar cherry here, so bear with me. Okay, so I might go on a little bit of a tangent here. May upset some people, may not. It's YouTube. These are my opinions, and I hope the reality of what I'm saying might help some of you out there. But first and foremost, I think that a lot of people on YouTube work too hard to build a fire, and I've always been in a mindset since high school, and I had a shop teacher who always said work smarter, not harder, and I'm trying to instill that in my survival / bug out / bushcraft, whatever you want to call all this stuff, my preps. So having said that, I hope this is helpful. I hope I don't upset anybody or offend anybody. Please feel free to comment down below, but keep the derogatory stuff out. There's no room for it here. So let's get started. First and foremost, the easiest way to start a fire in a dry to damp, not wet but damp scenario. Excuse me. Fall. Allergy seasons are kicking in just like they do spring. The godsend of the Bic lighter. I do not use what I call the little crack lighters, the little cheap ones. You guys know the ones I'm talking about. I don't know. They're crickets, and then they're the 10-cent lighters. I just don't use them. They don't last. They tend to leak, but the Bic lighter, I always carry one. I don't try to go tactical colors. You know, the bright colors are great, because if you do set one down in that moment of, okay, I got it going, let's hurry up and put some sticks on it. You're going to set your lighter down, and if you got a camouflaged one or duct tape to this color, and unfortunately, I do have black, and that's, that was just kind of the pack deal. You get 5 of these in a bundle. So, try to get the bright colors. Pinks, orange, white, red, just whatever. My thought behind these is that as long as you can kind of keep going and seeing the fuel in these, they work. I mean, it's a brainless thing to do. They work. These can get wet, and they will be difficult to light, but you can get them to light. I think going from there, in certain scenarios of wetness, you can add to this your Vaseline, WD-40, cooking oil, whatever it is that you put in these wax, but your little cotton ball tenders. In a dry situation, don't use these, save them. These are your wet condition fire starting aid. On top of that, there is char cloth. We'll get into char cloth in a little bit, but if you can find dry tinder, and if you can make dry tinder in a scenario where you have time, you're setting your camp up, you're in no big hurry, make your dry tinder out of some feather sticks. Save this stuff for the wet. Okay, so moving on from the cotton balls, a lot of people have these Espit cubes, Triox, whatever this stuff is. That's that military stuff. Fat woods, whatever tinder you have. I think all of these are great for I need a fire right now situations or wet situations. So again, save this stuff, save your S-bit cubes, whatever it is that you guys are using for, I think I need to use one of these every time I start a fire. Save this stuff for the wet. Dry situations, idea situations, or just use the lighter. I mean, it works. Okay, so moving on from the lighter, I'm not going to go into Zippos because I will offend a lot of people, but my personal opinion, I don't want to carry the fuel. The Zippo weighs as much as 4 of these lighters, if not more. So that's your choice. I'm cool with it. Matches. Strike Anywhere matches, the green matches, hurricane matches, waterproof this, waterproof that, make your own waterproof. Matches are going to be my next go-to. In a scenario that I somehow got every lighter that I own, and there's one in my pocket, there's one in my fire kit, there's one in my sewing kit, there's one in my fishing kit. I could put them in other little kits, so I've got a lighter somewhere stashed in every point of my pack, and if I'm in no hurry, I can go look for another one. But let's say the lighter for my pocket is wet. The first one I go to is my fire kit. Okay, so I have matches and a lighter. I'm going to go ahead and use this lighter. These are going to be my, eventually I'm going to need a match somewhere, somehow, for some reason. So there's my next idea for fire starting. And again, these can be used in conjunction with these, again, in a very wet very wet scenario. High wind scenarios. There's plenty of guys out there that are doing videos of how to light a match properly. That works with a Bic as well. It's all about cupping it and keeping it out of the wind. High wind, high moisture content. Assuming these got wet or I'm out of these, I've been out that long, and anybody that knows a Bic lighter, they last forever. So if you've went through 5 of these and you're still out there in a bug out situation, the world has really gone to shit and you need to figure something else out. But moving on, going to the Ferro rods, ferrocerium rods, the zinc bars with a ferro rod in them. You really can't beat these. These throw a super hot spark. Using them in conjunction with these in high winds and very wet scenarios. Using little fat wood shavings, the Triox bars, wax, coated this. You guys all have your little ideas for a quick way to start a fire in wet scenarios. But again, high wind and wet scenarios. Other than that, save these. So, will these spark on anything else? Yeah, there's all kinds of lichen and moss, cat tail down. When you bust it open, it becomes real fibrous, light, and airy. Just some shaved wood. If you use the back ridge of your knife and shave dust off of a good piece of pine or some kind of fat wood, a pitchy wood. If some of you aren't familiar with the word punky wood is, that's that wood that you see, that old rotten wood that's dry, but you can grab it and just crumble it up into dust. You grab a piece of punky wood like that, use the back of your knife or the actual little piece of steel that comes with these to throw a spark in there, and you can start an ember. Another idea for using with, let's say, even a match, or a flint and steel. Now, when I say flint and steel, I'm referring to the old style of using a rock flint and that little curved piece of steel that that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. Those, if you know how to use them, that's great. To me, they throw a low temperature spark. So for me, after several busted knuckles and just whatever, I just give up on that. This was my go-to fire steel now. But char cloth will catch a spark relatively easy. Char cloth is easy to make. A little tin like this snus tin, some Altoids tins. I've seen guys use little bitty cans from, just find you a little metal can from any tobacco store, snus. Go to a Goodwill, find a little bitty metal tin that just, might have had some kind of trinket in it, but something that closes up and stays relatively closed. Put you a small hole in what's going to be the top of it. Doesn't have to be real big. That one's about the size of a pencil lead, maybe a little bit bigger. You've already had a fire going. You're down to coals. Just set that down in the middle and scoot some coals around it. Well, not with your hands, but with a stick. Set some coals around it. This tin will start getting hot, and basically what happens is the cloth, and I say cloth, I mean cotton. So if you got bandanas and you come across some cloth material on your bug out, go ahead and pick up a little piece of cloth and stick it in a pocket. It might come in handy later. If you're wearing a cloth t-shirt to the point that you've tore it up so bad it really doesn't even make sense to wear it anymore, save some of it for char cloth. But fold up a little cloth, stick it in one of these. You've already had a fire going, so set that down in there, scoot some coal around it. This will start getting hot, and basically what happens is the cloth bakes or cooks, burns even, inside this tin, but without a flame. You'll see smoke come out of the hole, and then when the smoke stops, go ahead and pull this out with your multi-tool, a pair of pliers, flick it out with a stick, whatever you got to do to get this out of the coals. Let it cool, and your end result should be this very dark black, very fragile material that will catch a spark. You can get it in a dry tinder bundle and blow it into flame. This is not always my go-to thing, but it's nice to know that I have it. Another way of starting fire is the 9-volt battery and steel wool. However, how much steel wool are you going to carry? It could be a great backup resource to this. It's an emergency thing. The reality of it is I'm going to carry as many Bic lighters as I can and know that I still have some, and you smokers out there know that these last. You lose them before they run out most of the time. Okay. Last but not least, this is not the last resort for me. Sometimes I will use this just to save the fuel in a lighter in a scenario where I'm in no hurry. But using this, if you get a slight little beam going down on a piece of char cloth, this will, it's just like as soon as the beam touches it, it's almost into a pre-burned state. I hope this helped. Oh, one more thing. I carry the obligatory Ranger band, bicycle inner tube piece, to cover the hole on my char cloth tin, and just to help keep it closed. In a scenario that you need it, you can also get this stuff to burn, and it burns fairly well, to act as another tinder in the place of your cotton balls and stuff. But that's just my idea. have one main fire kit, and then redundancies throughout your pack. Excuse me, folks, I'm really sorry about that. Allergies. So your char cloth, your fire steels, your magnifying glasses, matches, your little quick tinder bundles. That's your main fire kit. And I'm going to add a lighter to that. So there's my main fire kit. This is my go-to situation. 90% of the time I'm going to have one of these in my pocket. In my pocket, or more readily at hand than even my fire kit. Backup scenarios, like I said again, fishing kit, sewing kit, this kit, that kit. If you break your pack down into kits, it ain't gonna hurt to throw a Bic lighter in that kit. So I hope this helps. Just a few of my philosophies and ideas to better my situation, and if this works for you, I hope it betters yours. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends, share the video, you know, whether it be on your Facebook if you find it interesting and think somebody else will. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe down below. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys on the next video.